Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Thank you so much for tuning into the Magnificent Mags channel. It's Monday evening. Now today's video is going to cover a few things at the club. It's going to be about the recent ticket price rises for the Liverpool game. I'm going to compare that to Aston Villa. The mess at an executive level. Why is Eales still here? Why has he not got a successor? Who's going to be with sporting director? Why the silence on lack of sponsorships for the training grounds, the stadium, training kits, the stadium, are we staying or going, the training ground, are we moving, are we found a location yet? Why the lack of signings? Have we just got a plan A? Have we got no contingency and a plan B if we didn't get with top targets because we're competing against big clubs? And should there be a balance between expectation and reality? All that and more in today's video, so let's get started. But yeah, it's been built, hasn't it, for ages. Well, Eddie Howe talked about it after the Everton game at the end of last season. I touched on that briefly on Saturday in my video, and it was meant to be this transformative summer because look, I don't want it to like fall behind or miss out, because there's been a lot of sliding doors moments. When I was 10, 1997, we lost Kevin Keegan. He walked out in the January, and we got Kenny Dalglish. Now, it's well documented that the club tried to get to Bobby Robson now. Could we have waited maybe until the summer? But he didn't want to leave Barcelona on the lurch mid-season, but then he was obviously sacked, wasn't he? And they brought in Louis van Gaal, who had been above him upstairs, and that's what he feared. But got Bobby, and that squad never would have been broken up. And then I go to maybe even 2002 or 3. I posted 3 on my post, but 2002, when he got like Bramble in, really, in 2002, and Viana. And then 2003, it was like Michael Bridges. I know I got Woodgate in 2002-3, but again, I'm talking about summer signings. When we're in a position of strength, finishing 4th and 3rd, the squad hasn't really been backed. And this was before PSR, under Freddie Shepherd. Yeah, like you go with Sir John Hall, we didn't get Bobby Robson, Dalglish broke the squad up. Now, I know there was overspending, interest in that. I'm aware of all that. But I'm just saying, Bobby come in, that squad wouldn't have been broken up. He would have found a way to make it work. 2002-3, only brought in the likes of Bramble, Viana. Then end of 2003, when we finished 3rd. We only got in the likes of Michael Bridges, if I remember right. Darren Ambrose, he wasn't a bad player, but again, you'd hope for more. And Lee Boyer. And you're thinking we should be capitalising here. And then we went out the Champions League in the penalty shootout to Belgrade. I remember that night at St James's. It was awful. But we got to the UEFA Cup semi-final. But again, moments of strength. You've got to capitalise. 2008, I felt that squad was still decent when we had the likes of Owen and Viduka. I know in hindsight we don't like Owen now, he's a money grabber, but you look back and if we built on that squad, if Ashley had spent when he'd just come in before all the proper toxicity was in, we probably wouldn't have went down in 2009. 2012, we finished 5th, just missed out in Champions League. We only brought in Vernon Nita on a free. And then you had Rafa Benitez, maybe 2019, 2020, I can't remember when it was, but I think it was 2019 when he was crying out for a place, final season. All he got in at the last minute was Rondon. So again, I don't want this to happen where we're not capitalising, but you go through a lot of factors. You've got the executive structure at the moment. There's a power vacuum. It is a mess. Darren Eales, bless him, he's got blood cancer. I hope he's all right. I'm hoping this is not putting stress on him. We wish him well, we do. But why is he still here? It's been 297 days since his departure was announced. Should he really still be in the role if his health's that bad? I mean, where's the successor? Then I go on to sporting director. Obviously, we've just got Suds in for the technical director, but we've still got no sporting director. And then it's been documented Eddie Howe is not got on with Paul Mitchell. But then he said in Austria last week in the pre-season interview, he's like, I was only on the 2nd day of my holiday, then I found out that Mitchell was leaving. Look, they mightn't have got on, but come on, who's been in any job, whether it was at school when you're young, any job now, walk of life, you have disagreements with people, you don't get on with everyone. Some people like you, some don't, that's just life. You get in a professional capacity. Like personally, if someone doesn't like me, that's their choice, doesn't bother me. But if it's a professional capacity, obviously you have to have standards and get on with them for a work perspective, the bigger picture. And Eddie Howe would have still worked with them. And taking your sporting director out before massive summer, could have even stayed on till the end of the window? Because I don't think he's that bad. And I'm not going to sit here and shithouse on Paul Mitchell now he's left. People saying he's responsible for the Trafford deal. Look, we're in a PSR mess. That's been well recorded. And we had to get in Vlachodimos when we from Forest. They sent him this way. He was dumped on when we had to get rid of Anderson and then mint out to Brighton. So really, I think that's a reason we didn't get Trafford. And yeah, it's been reported the Isak deal. I feel that's legit. He said there was 4 years left at the time. Amanda wanted to give him a deal, but he went no. It's a waste of time and money. He's on good wages. That's understandably irked Isak. But then that's another thing we've done badly. We're going into a summer window with our main striker unsettled. It's understandable if his head's turned, because there are bigger clubs and squads out there. He could play with better players. But you don't want your star striker going into the window with his contract situation unresolved. And now you've got you've got Liverpool coming in trying to unsettle him. And then he's left out of the squad on Saturday. And look, Eddie Howe says, I don't want him sitting in the stands. I sent him home. But again, I go back to what I said. I've never known a player left out for speculation. The better message is play him. Put him out there. Play him. Show everyone that he is staying. I hope that gets resolved, and it's been shot down by his reps that the talk apparently to some Egyptian journalist that went into the Middle Eastern papers, the Saudi papers or something, that it was his agent apparently saying we're waiting to see if he leaves or gets a new contract. That's been shot down as nonsense. But we still don't know what will happen with Isak. Again, if he signs his new contract, he's staying. I still feel he'll stay this summer, but it's not ideal because then we'll just come back to it again next summer. And then if he hasn't renewed, then it's likely he'll go next summer because you get more value when there's 2 years left and not one. And then you go through no signings. Anthony Elanga, I think he'll be a good signing. Look, I don't think he's world class, but he's a massive improvement on Murphy, and I'm not judging him for Saturday because that was his debut. And look, we'll judge him properly when the real games begin. But yeah, I just feel like we could have done more. Eddie Howe said we need to get players in early, but is it more expectation against reality? Luke Edwards said that, I believe him. We've had these expectations that we want to go for these signings like Akatike, Cunha, Mbumo, Pedro. I feel all of them, when you're competing against the clubs that we are, is probably, look, I applaud the ambition. I said that in my X post earlier today. I love the ambition. I love it. I'm not criticising the club for that. It's fantastic. But the reality is when you're going against the likes of, look, Man U finished bottom half. I hope they continue to be bad, but they're always going to have a pull. The revenues are massive. Liverpool, the biggest club in the country, they've got bigger revenues. Chelsea do, Man City do, Arsenal do. Even Spurs do, but Spurs are on our level, like with Villa and Everton, you could say. But it's just when you're going against these clubs, you've got to accept if rumours get out. And look, I do believe there's certain journalists. I'm starting to think Romano is fed stuff to post out there and to put it out there, make it known to these other clubs, and then they can get deals done. Because clubs obviously want a bidding war when they're selling to get the most money, and we can't compete at the moment with the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City. And that, mind, it's good news what Martin Hardy of the Times reported earlier, that we're looking at tie down Tino to a new 6-year contract to fend off interest from City. Apparently those City accounts are saying that they're not after him now. They're going to turn their attention elsewhere. But he's 22 now. We signed him 2 years ago from Southampton. It's a deal that could rise to 40 million. But if we give him a new 6-year contract, because his deal runs until 2028, I believe, yes it is, and we'll make him one of the highest earners. He doesn't need to leave, and he's proven how valuable he is for last season. He's hot property, so we'll want to keep him. Because what message does it send to the squad and fan base if you're selling players to domestic rivals? That's just mad. Like, we're meant to be building, we want to back our words up, and then we're selling players to domestic rivals. It just can't happen. But yeah, even that, in terms of wages, we've heard nothing in terms of sponsorships. I just want to say, Cumbrian Mag, if you're watching, he replied to me before. He said he agreed with everything I said, but he disagreed on the sponsorships. Well, I've brought hundreds of sponsorships in. We have. But and I agree with him on that. I wasn't trying to dismiss we haven't brought any in. My point was, I said this back to him, that it's the game-changing ones, the ones that bring in the big money, the ones for training grounds, training kits, the stadium. Look, We didn't like it when Ashley sponsored St James's Park, but it's because we got no money for it. We could probably accept St James's with a Saudi sponsor against it because we know the PIF will reinvest it back into the club, but that's silent. But are we waiting for the APT ruling for Manchester City? If we are, couldn't the club just say they're waiting for that? It's understandable. I know we could do short-term deals, but then if the APT ruling, it would just be, oh, look, it comes out, and then we're tied into a contract that we couldn't get out of. And then it just, if I come back to signings though, the best signings that we've ever done is when we just magic them out of thin air. We got Bruno Guimaraes, we got Sven Botman, we got Alexander Isak. And look, I know these, you might say that other clubs might not want to take a risk on them. Yes, but we still had the balls to go out and get them. Bruno came from Lyon. AC Milan were in for Botman and he chose us. That shows the ambition. Alexander Isak, yeah, he didn't like the league up in La Liga too much. I think he only got 7 goals for Sociedad, but we took a punt on him when we were last in Feketike, and look how that's worked out. And then Tonali. Now, I know Tonali, he's not exactly unknown. He was Milan captain, boyhood club. So obviously he was well known. Milan 7 times, I think, European champions, aren't they? So it's not like he's at a small club. They're massive, but no club was willing to take a gamble on him because of his that was no pun intended, by the way, the off-field gambling issues that he had that are now resolved. We took a punt on him, and now look at the rewards that we're reaping with these performances. So yeah, all these signings out of nowhere, we need to get back to that. But again, social media feels like it's going where prominent journalists are getting news and then putting it out there so other clubs can trump with it. They know they can beat with for revenues at the moment. And yes, PSR rules are there. And look, I know wages can only be 70% of revenue. I think it was 90, then it's dropped to 80, then this season it's 70. So we've got to keep within that. And wages are accounted as part of PSR. So the more wages you offer restrict who we can bring in. So I can understand we're trying to balance that. But PSR, while it's here, I posted in my post on X earlier, we've got to be more clever. We've got to find ways around it. Could we follow Villa and Chelsea's path and accept the financial fine? Could we try and do that? We're women's team, we wouldn't get as much value because they're in the Championship at the moment. We could get more when they're in the Women's Super League. But is there a way around it? We've got to try and get sponsorships in. We've got to try and maximise these revenues. Like you said, commercial growth is the area where we can grow and then invest that into the squad, but we're not hearing anything on that. There's lots of areas I feel the club could exploit, but we're being very by the book at the moment. I know the takeover caused a lot of controversy and all these rules were brought in. Look, PSR, I agree, was agreed by us as well when it was brought in, but that was the previous ownership. APT and fair market value have come in since the takeover, and we're vehemently against all that now. The club just need to show the teeth a bit more, be a bit more aggressive, I feel. And we all lack in transparency and accountability. Now Amanda's not there. She had compassion. She had warmth, her and Murdad. I know the club can't tell with everything, but they give the fans, they reassured the fans, they were a calming presence. But now it's a wall of silence. We've heard nothing on this training ground, we've heard nothing on the stadium, or we're staying at St James's or moving. It is, the silence is deafening, but relentlessly we are still getting all this merchandise. It used to be when I was growing up, you'd get a home kit every 2 years, an away kit every season, no third kit. And yes, you got, I know in the 90s you had the Keegan jackets and that, the Adidas range, but now you've got coaches kits, you've got training kits, you've got pre-warm-up kits. The merchandise just feels like it's an overload and fans are being hit in the pocket again. The news today, the Liverpool game, look at that, the ballot. Fans have went on and in areas they've said it's raised by 16% compared to the game last season. The cheapest ticket, someone said, is £55, but now when you go on, it's £55 just for the initial ticket, but then the club haven't released the prices elsewhere, and until you find out you're successful in the ballot, it says there's just one message on the screen that says from £58 for elsewhere in the ground. Imagine that, level 7, £58. I am grateful, I am. I feel the club are trying, but we just need a bit more. And I'm just grateful I'm a season ticket holder. I pay £763 to sit in Strawberry Corner. It works out £63 a month over the 12 months, but it is getting costly, and fans are being hit in the pocket because it's the only area at the moment where it feels like the club can generate that little bit more revenue, but there's so many more areas that could exploit where it would generate a lot bigger money to reinvest into the squad. Look, fans are quite rightly frustrated when it's just kit after kit in all these areas, when they're hitting the pocket as it is in a cost of living crisis. And then even Villa posted today their opening game against us. Their tickets are the same. The cheapest ticket's £58. And then you go to Category 3, £77. And then you can go all the way up to Category 1, £93. I think it was 93 or 97, nearly £100 just to watch a Premier League game. And yeah, it's frustrating, but I just wanted to cover these areas. I feel Eddie Howe needs more support. He is cutting a frustrated figure. It looked like that when I zoomed in from him in my photo from the away end at Celtic Park. And we just can't miss this opportunity. It's a huge opportunity. If we don't strengthen before a massive season, we'll feel really let down. We want the best for our club. That's why we do these videos. I'm doing this constructively. It's not a rant. It's passionate. I love my club. I feel the owners are trying, but we just need a bit more communication, a bit more. Honestly, we do. It just feels that way at the moment. And look, I'm not going to judge the signings at the moment. Like whoever we get in, I'll judge it when the window's closed on September 1st. And yeah, I'm doing this video because I do care. It comes from the heart. A lot of this is from the heart as well as the head. I love this club. It's my only club. It'll be the club from when I've been born until I die. And I want the best for it. And I know we can do a lot more. Yes, PSR exists, but I feel there's still ways around that. And I just feel like we can't let down such an elite manager who's bored into the area, ended with trophy drought, got with 2 out of 3 seasons of Champions League football, really improved players as games, and also he's got with playing really attractive, transitional, high-pressing football that really suffocates teams. And he's made St James's a lot of the time a fortress, and teams hate playing with. And I just feel like we can't let him down because we are lucky to have him. And look, I know that people might say he's a control freak and we've already lost Dan Ashworth and Paul Mitchell. But we don't know the inner workings, do we? It's all conjecture. We can't read what we see in the press, but we don't know. It mightn't be because Eddie Howe doesn't work with them. Dan Ashworth basically went on garden leave to go to Man U because he just wanted to leave with. He wanted to feel like he was going to a bigger project and a bigger club. So I don't feel that's on Eddie Howe. And by his comments, like I said in Austria, it sounds like he tried to make it work and then he was surprised when Paul Mitchell left. But yeah, again, I just hope that the game isn't going to an area where everyday fans are going to be priced out, because football is getting expensive, and especially away days as well as home games. But yeah, if you've stuck with us so far, thank you so much. Like I said, it wasn't a rant, it's just a passionate plea from the heart. I just want to say as well, I'm not apologising for me shirt not being ironed. I'm in the house, I'm chilling, and I've just took it out the drawer when I got out the shower. That's why it's creased. I'm not ironing it to lounge around the house. But anyway, before I go, I just want to say, if you do like this video and my content, please follow and like all my social media channels for the Magnificent Mags. And especially if you like this video and you want more dropping in your inbox on YouTube, please subscribe and you'll get the notification when they drop in your inbox. And I just want to say some exciting news that I can share. I am now an admin for Magpie Ultras. That's part of my friend's channel at Magpie 24/7. He's asked us if I'd like to come on board and be an admin. So very soon you'll see my name on the Magpie Ultras channel. So please give that a follow and a like too. But that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, enjoy your week, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye now.